We spent the past couple of years in a crazy hot market. Louisville home sales decline as demand outpaces supply. Effective communication is at the core of any situation. If you master these two ideas, you'll have a chance of being successful at residential real estate marketing. I think you need to be looking for investment opportunities that move the needle. The market will never crash if demand exceeds supply. This is what I've been telling you all along.
This is the Jay Pitts Show. And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your host, Jay Pitts, here with Ryan Harris on Talk Radio 1080. Happy Saturday morning. Though we're not recording, we're not live. We're recording on a Thursday. Only a few days removed, though, Ryan.
Yeah, it'd be fun to do a show live sometime.
At some point. I don't know that Jim wants to come in on Saturday morning.
I definitely feel comfortable enough for it now.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
So live is fine. I have no fear of going live.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
I think we do well. You were just telling me today, though, is your anniversary.
Absolutely. Congrats. Well, I was telling you something else. We can talk about that in a second. But yeah, July 20th, 2007. So, yeah.
Nice.
Long time removed, 16 years.
Yeah, still haven't had my first anniversary yet, but we're getting there.
You're getting there. And you're about to have the second milestone that I was going to discuss 1 week from today is my oldest son's birthday, 7/27, 1 week removed from my anniversary. It's impossible to forget either.
Yeah, I was just telling Jay my sleep score on my watch. I wear a Garmin, and it said 92 out of 100, and Jay kindly let me know.
That's about to change.
That won't last much longer.
Yeah, it's about to change. It's inside a month. The countdown is on. The bag is being packed today, you said.
Supposedly.
Yeah, the hospital bag. We will see. I have to check with Hillary, see if she decided to procrastinate. Tell her we put her on record. It's just got to be done by Saturday when this airs. How about that?
Okay, that works.
Okay,
that's good.
She has our grace. All right, man. So what are we talking about today?
Well, I think we should talk about the $1 billion Powerball ticket. Did you play?
I did not.
I only play when it gets over $1 billion.
Oh, because that makes entirely too much sense.
Yeah. Get one ticket and just...
Because 72 million wouldn't change your life.
Somebody did win.
That's what I heard.
California.
I heard somebody, well, they need it to live in California as expensive as it is.
Yeah, it's probably somebody in Beverly Hills that won.
They're actually not a billionaire, though.
No.
Because they're a 400 millionaire after all the taxes.
I think it ended up being like 562.
562, is that the cash option?
Or cash is that, option.
Okay, so then they're a 250 millionaire after taxes.
Well, no. It was it was a $1.1 billion ticket, and I think they get, I guess they are a quarter billionaire after.
So they get 560 a cash option, which you always should take, by the way.
Right.
By the way, always take the cash option. You do not, just with inflation, time value of money, take the cash option. 50% payout, even if it is 50%, take 50% in the cash option. Absolutely. The compounding effect of money, we can discuss that on another day. But yeah, take it and then pay 60% of that in taxes.
Yeah, that was always like a fun, I wouldn't call it a brain teaser, but let's call it a brain teaser for this. When people you ask growing up, would you rather have $10,000 today or $1,000 or $1,500 or $1,000 a week for the next 12 weeks?
And I feel like an outsized number of people answer with the money per week, like the incremental money. And to me, and it's funny, that folds into like some business philosophy from my standpoint and the way I look at finance for self-employed people. So not too far off topic. We're not just goofing around here. I think that just is an admission of a lack of discipline.
Yeah.
Is what I think it is.
But I think they recognize it.
At least they recognize it. At least they recognize it.
And realize that.
You know, we talk often about, like, Dave Ramsey is an influencer that we discuss quite a bit, who's actually on this radio station. And I love a lot of what Dave teaches. And he would never admit this, but it's for a lot of discipline. It's forced discipline is what it is. And so if you have discipline, then some of the teachings become irrelevant, or at least less impactful.
All right, cool. All right, let's get into our consumer real estate question of the week. I thought I turned our stopwatch off there for a sec, but we're good. So I'm going to read this. This is from actually a real estate mastermind Facebook group. Thought it was an interesting one. So just want to hear what you think. This person said, I've seen a lot of negativity around cell phone photos. You know, they're talking about listing photos. As someone who's been licensed for a little under a year with zero business, I can't afford professional photos for my first upcoming listing. My sellers are family and thus quite understanding, and I found myself a lot busier recently with a few different opportunities. Blah, 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 blah. They basically don't have the money to hire somebody for $300, and they're asking these other agents if they would hesitate to show a property with cell phone photos.
I wouldn't, but it's the way I answer most questions. It depends on the market. Right. Like we used to show, when I first started, we'd show listings with no photos. We would drive out to find out how bad it was because it had no photos. And I'm in the business long enough to remember when professional photography was not the norm. It was actually a differentiating factor that you could quote in an appointment that actually made an impact. There were actually, clients that wanted their homes listed, and they would only consider agents that they perceived to use professional photography. It was a nice differentiating factor. And honestly, the cost of good photography equipment has come down. The prevalence of skilled photographers has gone up. And so now it is much more the norm. It's the entry fee, right? You could just be considered, you have to do this. If you're not, you're disqualified immediately. So, yeah, there's just not that many listings for sale. So, yeah, cell phone photos, I'm going to extrapolate what I think from the cell phone photos, and I'm going to go show it. I think an agent could, let's say, the one that doesn't have $300 to pay per listing for, they could probably more easily come across $1,500 to buy, a decent setup, right, to where they could take the photos themselves. I wouldn't recommend it, but they could, rather than shoot cell phone photos. I think they should try to buy themselves a decent setup and take the photos themselves. There are AI photo editors. It's, you can buy presets, for filters and things like that. You can. The thing about shooting, as Hannah sits here in the corner, and she could certainly attest to, the thing that's difficult about shooting real estate is there's harsh one-directional light because you have a window in almost every room, and the artificial light is usually not good. It's like a flush mount, or if you're lucky enough to have recessed lighting, there's only 4 artificial lights probably in a room, 4 to 6. If it's not recessed, you have 1, and it's in the center of the room, so you have every corner is dark. And then you have this window that like completely blows out the frame and overexposes, to the lens. So it's just not easy to shoot. But then there are also editing techniques that are presets that you can like buy an editing program and quickly take a decent photograph and make it look professional.
Yeah. So I have a couple things on this. There's cell phone photos and cell phone photos.
Exactly.
You can make cell phone photos look pretty good now.
You can take a landscape photo on an iPhone, a newer iPhone, and put it in some editing software.
You can do wide lens on an iPhone.
Not know the difference between. We shoot a lot of our video. We're recording this episode right now with iPhone cameras.
Yeah, there's becoming media people you can hire that are strictly only use an iPhone for everything. Yeah. But I actually have an interesting. Maybe not interesting, but they could definitely hire a photographer for this and pay them after closing. Go to a photographer, tell them, hey, I'm a brand new agent. I just got a listing. I don't have the money to pay for it right now. It really helped me out if I can pay you after closing, and we can build this relationship as I get more listings. Yeah. I'll use you as my photographer.
I think a savvy social media forward young, inexperienced agent could certainly make a trade. Like I'll promote you, if you give me a discount or if you work with me on payment in some sort of way, I'll, do my best to promote you and your business. I think that's absolutely, agents have a lot of influence, especially if you produce a fair amount. Now, if you produce a fair amount, then you've got enough to pay for your photos. So,
yeah,
but absolutely, I've done deals like that. We buy photography in bulk. Like we purchase a number of shoots in advance from certain photographers that are willing to give us a 20, 25, 30% discount if I buy 20 shoots at a time. Yeah. Right. So I'm writing a $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 check right up front, and if they go out of business, I'm I'm stuck, but or disappear. You know, but for me, with the volume that we do, it's worth a 20 to 25% discount.
Yep. One thing I'm a little worried about for this agent, though, it's fine to be worried about this problem, but if this is causing them that much anxiety that they have to post about it, there's a lot more coming.
Oh gosh, absolutely. Like, you know, I hope, and I fear, you know, a number of agents probably suffer from anxiety. It's a very real thing, so I'm not diminishing, but it's almost like this is the worst possible business you could be in for anxiety. Just
no doubt.
The lack of, you know, preset scheduling or expectations or routine or continuity. Like, you literally can go from the lowest low to the highest high and back within one single workday.
Yeah. And if you hear any influencer agent on social media nowadays, they'll tell you you're going to have to basically kill yourself the first 2 years working to make it if you want to be one of the best, which also creates some of that anxiety knowing you have to do that as a new agent. But we got to cut to a couple of our ad sponsors. We'll be back in a couple minutes. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris. This is the Jay Pitts Show, Talk Radio, 1080, Real News, Real Talk. See you in a sec. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris, Talk Radio 1080. All right, Jay, Louisville market update. We haven't done one of these in a while. What's the real estate market doing?
Yeah. No, it's a very unique market. It continues to get more and more unique. If you go back, probably even the beginning of this show, how long have we been doing this now? What episode are we on?
Like
22 episodes,
months, maybe.
22 episodes. Hannah flashed me the double deuce over there. 22 episodes. If you go back to our first episode, that I probably said something in the first market update we did that I kind of expect interest rates to be in the 5s by the end of the summer. Definitely not happening. We're actually over 7. I also didn't expect inflation to come down almost to the point where I don't trust the number. It's so low.
And you don't trust it, and it's still not as low as they want it.
Exactly. And I still don't trust it because of just the descent.
Well, we're also all living in the world today and don't trust it just by everyday consumer spending.
I mean, I see things like, you know, and I don't know if this is on the rundown, but I bought a new truck. I don't know if we're going to talk about that, but I bought a Ford Lightning, okay, an all electric pickup truck, and Ford actually just dropped prices like 10% on some models of the Ford Lightning just after I bought one. Now, I bought one used, and I bought it substantially under MSRP because it was a dealer demo. So I essentially got like a 1,000 mile current model year used vehicle.
Yeah.
And I negotiated a really good deal on it. I sell for a living, guys. This is what I do. So I negotiated a good deal on it. So I'm not hurt by that. My discount looks like not quite as good now, but, you know, that tells me when the nation's largest auto manufacturer reduces prices 10% on the flagship brand new model of the highest selling unit vehicle in existence domestically, that tells me that there may be some cause for concern with the economy.
Yeah.
Right. But I also think the timing is curious. I know we're doing a market update, so sorry for this digression.
Keep going.
Tesla just rolled the first Cybertruck off the line in Austin, Texas, the first domestically produced production Cybertruck, which the Cybertruck, if you go back to the original pricing, the top end model was slated at $69,000. Well, Ford has vastly exceeded, and so has Rivians and every other electric pickup truck. So there's been some rumors, okay, that Tesla is going to try to hold to the original pricing, which just tells me market penetration. They're trying to eviscerate everyone. If they can deliver that, Ford's in trouble. So Ford may be trying to get ahead of it, is my point. I don't necessarily know it's 100% due to soft sales. Could be like impending competition. So we'll see. Back to market update. More of the same. Okay, more of the same from like an analytics standpoint. 38% down on listings year to date. 18% down on closed sales. Price is still up. Price is up. In fact, I was reading an article today that a lot of the main like Moody's or somebody had adjusted their expectation for home price appreciation upwards to 4%. 4% price appreciation for this year. Ryan, do you remember probably 22 weeks ago, we were talking about how people were calling the market crashed and saying that we were going to lose 15% in property values this year?
I remember.
Okay, but now we're back to a very reasonable and normal 4% appreciation, which is as sustainable as it gets, 4%.
Right.
Anyway, so, I mean, that's kind of the situation, man. I mean, there's really nothing else out there in the market that really strikes me. You're seeing some softness in certain prices at certain locations, but we have to reorder expectations. Softness says, I list a property at a price I wouldn't have dreamed of listing it for 2 years ago, and I get 2 offers in 10 days versus 10 offers on day one.
Yeah.
It's just a reordering of expectations. That's not normal. 10 offers in 2 days is not normal. 2 offers in a week is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
And a lot of agents don't understand that right now.
They don't, because they've never lived in a world where it wasn't that way.
Right. It's a really, really good lead in to the narrative shift I've seen in the media the last probably 2 weeks about the housing market. The headlines used to be just home sales down 40%, buyer demand down. But everybody's finally starting to realize, and I give agents credit because they've been hammering this point, that it's just low inventory. Demand is still outweighing supply. So I've been seeing in the media lately, like I said, they're saying finally low inventory. Only way to change that is new homes.
That's it.
And the only way to do that is deregulate and bring some incentives for builders.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a few other things that could be done. I mean, really, business stimulus is, tax breaks for builders, tax breaks to create inventory. You're not going to change material prices. That's too large of a game to play. The federal government cannot regulate their way. Any regulation creates higher prices. Higher prices on materials, it means more expensive homes in the end. Builders are not going to build homes for free. They have to make money to stay in business. That's
even though
the nature of things.
Facebook would lead you to believe builders should build homes for free.
No, I agree, and it won't. It'll never happen. I think tax incentives, for people that produce inventory is on the order, but the unfortunate part of that is, as long as demand stays strong, you have to find an equilibrium. It's basic economics. It really is. We have to meet the demand. Until we meet the demand that we have, prices are going to continue to incline, and quickly.
Something I've been thinking of, let's just say, hypothetically, home prices do start to decrease just a little bit. I think the problem with that for home builders now is the price to build is still high. Mm-hmm. Like, if home prices were cut, they'd still have to sell these homes for what they're trying to sell them at now.
What you're talking about, Ryan, is stagflation. Okay. So when a lot of times, and that was the problem that we had in the early 80s, right? You saw historic increases in prices. Inflation was crazy. Interest rates were up. Interest rates had to go up to curtail inflation. So what happens is when interest rates, start to level off, your cost that drove the increase in interest rates is still there. So your commodity prices, your cost of an hour of labor, those things are still really high, but the value of the dollar in the pocket of the consumer is substantially diminished. So you can't buy as much. So that's what happens. You don't buy.
Yeah.
You keep your money in your pocket. And then, that's when you end up with, huge unemployment and, deep recessions that are difficult to climb out of. And, the current administration has been tap dancing, trying to serve multiple, interests for the entire time they've been in office. It's an unenviable position, I will tell you. And it wasn't entirely created by them. I think they've mismanaged it, frankly. But I think, honestly, the previous administration, regardless of your politics, deserves a lot of the credit as well. Everybody wants to talk about the spending under Biden, but the spending under Trump wasn't any less. I mean, it was a little less, but it was also in reaction to COVID, so they want to give you a pass because of that. I know this is not a political show. I'm just saying, okay, we can't, the only thing we can do is try to build our way out of the supply-demand issue. In order to get builders to build more, you need to give them incentives to do so. And right now, rates aren't going to do that. You're not going to do it with commodity prices and material prices. You're not going to reduce the cost of labor. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to charge them less tax on their profits. That's the only way to incentivize them.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. Tax incentives. You think about some of the biggest investment decisions anybody makes in the United States, and it's all around tax incentives.
That's it.
And if you did that for building, you would have people flooding in to the building industry.
It's done in the way of tax credits is what it is. You give them tax credits. Create units, you get tax credits. That's what you want. So,
yeah,
all
that's
right.
great. Let's see. What do we have next? So we only got a little bit of time here. You've talked on a previous show about the seasons of the housing market, just how we have fall, winter, summer, spring.
Yeah.
What season typically are we supposed to be in?
I mean, it's supposed to be summer. It's supposed to be the highest closing month of the year, July. I don't know that it's going to be that, truthfully. I expected rates to be a little lower, and I'm throwing aside like what we do as a company, as a team, because I think we outperform the market substantially. But, I think fall is going to be better than I expected. For real estate transactions, residential real estate transaction. And it's because summer has lagged expectation. So we're technically supposed to be in we used to say, prospect in Q1, sell in Q2, close in Q3, and take off Q4. Yeah. And that's not really, that's not the reality anymore, but there is still definite seasonality. August is is abnormally slow typically. Just because folks want to get ready for school and people, get busy. And so July should be closing and getting ready for a respite. I think what this means, I think August will be slow. I think September will be brisk.
Gotcha. All right. We'll follow back up on that when we come back from a couple ads. This is the Jay Pitts Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris, Talk Radio 1080, Real News, Real Talk. We'll be back.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to the Jay Pitts Show here on Talk Radio 1080. I'm your host, Jay Pitts. We were talking about the market for the rest of the year just before the last break. Ryan, I talked a little bit about September. I think September is going to be pretty brisk. I think, October probably follows suit. I think we probably see a slow November and December again, just because there's just too much, demand is not being curtailed a ton, but supply is still really constrained, and the rates are putting a lot of pressure on things, which is a good transition right into another article that we wanted to talk about today. So apparently loan rejections have hit a 5-year high. And I think there's a really, really easy explanation for that. And one that the average consumer may not know about. Now, number one, you obviously know about the rates. And so the higher the rate and the higher the price, the harder it is to pay, right? So you have reduced affordability, you have, kind of constraints on what a buyer might be able to buy. And when rates escalate quickly, as they have in the last month or so, certainly as they did around this time last year, you have people that were expecting to purchase one thing and now no longer can do so affordably. Mm-hmm. So that's part of it. But the unsung part of that, the part that gets almost no attention outside of our industry, is something that you call loan level price adjustments, LLPAs, if you will. And we did a training about this in the office, and our in-house mortgage guy, who is savant when it comes to this stuff, Mr. Andrew Dow, trained us on this. Loan level price adjustments is something that you need to understand. So it kind of goes to the basis of how interest rates are calculated. The market is the market. The market determines rates. You have a base rate. It's called a par rate. The par rate is what the lender will lend you money for if you meet a set of criteria. Okay? Now, if you don't meet that set of criteria perfectly, it doesn't mean that you don't get the loan. It just means that risk is added to your profile. Okay, if you have less than a 20% down payment, let's say, if you have slightly lower credit score, if your debt to income ratio, your earnings in relation to your debt obligations are slightly higher, meaning that your budget is a little strained, the loan profile becomes riskier. So in order to get the lender, the person with the money, to actually make that loan, they have to do what? They have to make an adjustment, make that loan slightly more profitable to them, which means higher interest rates. Okay. So loan level price adjustments just went under a pretty historic change here recently. As you can imagine, better credit scores, higher down payments, lower debt to income ratio should mean, right, that should mean that you're better qualified. What, it's not just the Biden administration, but it was certainly, they were certainly a catalyst to this. In talks with the Fed and monetary policy that's been issued, they've been trying to promote demand. We've talked about this on the show quite a bit. But the problem with promoting demand is you get in this vicious cycle. When you promote demand with no supply, then price just goes up and you price people out. Okay, so here's what they did. They made higher loan level price adjustments on more qualified borrowers. So, for example, if it was required to get the best possible interest rate, you were required to get you had a 750 credit score. Well, they changed that to 780. So now that 750 borrower gets a loan level price adjustment, means their interest rate goes up. And not only that, okay, so that's a 30-point difference. And this, I'm speaking in generalities here, so please don't quote me, but this is the thought. This is the ideal. The difference between 750 and 780 is 30 points. And for that 30 points, your interest rate goes up a quarter point. So let's say the par rate is 6, you get a 6.25 if you have a 750 instead of a 6, right? But the loan level price adjustment on the difference between 750 and 720 is only an eighth of a point. So as your credit score descends, the increase in interest rate gets smaller. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with down payment, and it's the same thing with debt to income ratio. And in fact, they made loans more available to people with lower credit standards, lower down payments and higher debt to income ratios than their previous threshold was. So what that just tells you, okay, Ryan, is that more people fail out, okay, than previously did because of this. Because who's out there buying? Qualified people are buying. And when you make the qualified people less qualified because of the way that you reorder the expectations, well, you get loan denials. That's really what comes down to.
So would you say it's hurting? So basically, it's hurting more people trying to buy homes than it's helping.
I believe so, because the people that it's most generous to are the people that have been priced out of the market because of the supply demand dynamics. So the 580 credit score with a high debt to income ratio and no down payment borrower has a hard time buying because they can't afford the payments on a home that would be in an area that they would find acceptable or have the number of bedrooms that they need. Okay, so then you've got the 2-income household, good credit, young professional borrower that can no longer afford a home because of these loan level price adjustments. They're getting punished in a lot of ways, unfortunately, for being a credit-worthy borrower. That's the unfortunate part. And here's the best part. The rush to government loans, FHA, VA, KHC, those types of loans has been drastic. There are literally a 1 percentage point difference for the same borrower between conventional loans and FHA loans right now in the market. Like we're pricing out 1 percentage point lower under the same circumstances than FHA for a highly qualified borrower.
That's insane.
It kind of is. So I think that is the reason why you're seeing the unspoken reason why you're seeing a lot of loan applications get denied.
Let me ask you something about that. Knowing somebody could go conventional, but they're going FHA, you think there's going to be a lot of agents writing conventional on offer contracts and then switching it to FHA later?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like when there's a 1 point disparity in interest rate, you got to write it FHA. Because, I mean, what Ryan's getting at is, unfortunately, sellers in the past in high activity markets have, I hate to use the D word, right? But it's not a protected class. So they have discriminated against borrowers with government financing because the perception to a seller is that those loans are less likely to close, the borrowers are less qualified, and requirements of the seller may arise as relating to the condition of the property. So you have, a borrower coming in or a buyer coming in, writing an offer when there's 10 offers on a listing. Okay. And they're FHA financing. They don't want to lie. I'm FHA financing. I waive my inspection. I waive my appraisal. I do all these things. Right. But the seller doesn't accept their offer anyway, because they perceive the fact that the deal's going to die afterwards because the FHA financing is tough to close.
Yeah.
That's an unfortunate perception. And when you really want to think about it, VA financing is almost criminal in my mind. It's really immoral. And I would never be party to a situation with a seller where they said no to a VA offer, because these people are fighting for your country. They're defending your freedom. They're laying their life on the line, and then they come home and they can't get their offer accepted because it's a VA loan. It's meant to be a benefit.
I've sold a lot of listings to VA buyers, and it's just people think they don't close. They always close.
I've never had an issue with them.
It's so solid.
I mean, growing up around Fort Knox, you and I have had the pleasure of being around a lot of military folks, and especially a lot of military folks in real estate. VA loan's a great loan. It's one of the best loans. I mean, it's 100% financing at below market rates with no private mortgage insurance. I don't know how you beat it.
You can't.
You can't beat it.
I wanted to bring up one more thing in this article talking about the mortgages. So it talked about federal student loan payments. Repayment ends in October. So starting October, everybody's going to have to pay those student loans again, supposedly.
Yeah.
Now, I did read he's trying to pass a new bill where
I think that's going to go the same way as the first one. It's executive fiat. So it's not a bill. It's a executive order.
I think what really stinks about this for a lot of the people that have to pay their student loans, they really made it seem like it was happening. Like it was a done deal, like it was going through. You just had to wait. You could even sign up somewhere for it. And a lot of people spent that money they had.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what's going to happen. I think they'll find another way to push it back, personally.
It's a shame.
It's become a huge political thing for them at this point. And
it has. I mean, I think it's pretty despicable, like giving those people that kind of hope. It wasn't constitutional. That's why it was found unconstitutional. The president doesn't have that power, and he made that promise. I mean, anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're getting really political today. We got to be careful.
We're not getting too political.
Not too. We're vanilla.
It is very vanilla, actually.
Yeah.
So, all right, we only got a few more seconds here. Give me 3 words for the housing market the rest of the year.
3 words.
Doesn't have to be 3.
Odd. Fast. And
odd, fast,
frustrating.
I
mean, that not for me. Frustrating I think for buyers.
Yeah.
I think for buyers it's frustrating because rates are probably going to be high, inventory is going to be short, and it seems like they should have much more leverage, but they don't.
Got it. All right. You want to sign us off for the next segment?
Yeah. We'll be back right after the break, folks. We got a few sponsors lined up. Hopefully, you get a good word from them, and we'll be back after the break to talk to you more on the Jay Pitt Show, Talk Radio 1080.
Welcome back to the Jay Pitt Show. I'm your co-host, Ryan Harris, Talk Radio 1080, real news, real talk. So during our ad sponsors, Jay and I were just talking about the news show Quarterbacks. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I just love, I agree. So the show opening has Peyton Manning talking about it being the most difficult position. 1,000% agree. I like seeing the personal side. I like seeing, that these guys are like husbands and fathers but like what they have to do to take care of themselves.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's like, because they're not divas, that. Like they're just like a punching bag. And no, they don't get hit during practice, but they get enough on Sunday, and just like what you have to do to maintain yourself seems like almost crazy to me.
They're really showing Kirk Cousins getting hit and all his the whole game. He just
I mean that's
game after game. He just keeps getting hit in the same spot,
dude. But that's Kirk Cousins. Like he's still there because he takes the hit well.
Yeah. They definitely jack up the volume on the hits and stuff too, but
sure.
It obviously hurts.
No, for sure. I was just surprised to see Marcus Mariota because I feel like he's just always been very bland.
I'll be honest, that's the part of the show I've skipped through some of it whenever it's on him.
He's pretty bland, but I don't know.
Well, and I wonder how they pick their quarterbacks. Obviously, the quarterbacks probably have to say yes, and maybe that's just the three.
They probably want some variation. You don't want all superstars. I can't imagine.
I think it'd be great.
Well,
they did get three guys in three different stages of their career. Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl winner. Kirk Cousins, good quarterback, been in the league for a while, trying to win a Super Bowl, and then Marcus Mariota is trying not to get fired.
Basically, and he was a huge prospect. He's been in multiple teams, and now he's got a starting job, and it's like, okay, it's time for him to produce now. But like, Mahomes is great because like that's who everybody wants to see, and like he's the draw, and then like the unsung kind of Kirk Cousins, like how's this guy still around kind of
fashion
stuff.
Becoming a big part of the show.
Dude, they said that, did you see the part where they were taking bets on where his shirt came from?
Oh yeah.
Like what is this yellow plaid?
Threw his wife under the bus too.
I tell you, I was impressed. I don't know why it seems silly, but that Mahomes married his high school sweetheart. Mm-hmm. Like that was cool to me. Like it makes him seem more grounded.
It's probably going to do a lot of good for her, the show, because people did not really like her.
Yeah, before?
Yeah.
I don't know that I knew that.
Yeah, people did not like her very much. They thought she was just too loud and
okay. Well, they talk about in the show how he had a huge crush on her and she wanted no part of it.
She's like, you might be a pretty good quarterback.
She finally figured it out, I guess. Anyway, no, it's a good show. I'll end up watching the rest. We can talk more about it later. Yeah. I haven't gotten all the way through though.
That's great. Have you made a Threads account yet?
I've not.
Me either.
So let me guess. Let me guess that we're in the same place here.
Yeah, I got two things on it.
Okay,
is why.
so I have one. I have really one reason. I am much more of an Elon fan than I am a Zuck fan. Okay. That frames the conversation. That's not the reason. For me, and I'm almost defiantly not creating one at this point.
Yeah, same.
I don't want to because I like Twitter so much that I don't want to play part in competing with Twitter.
You don't need another Twitter to scroll.
I don't need another scroll. I don't care that it's an opportunity to grab lots of influence. I don't care that it's an opportunity to build my Instagram or whatever through Threads. I really am intrigued by what Elon seems to want to make Twitter, and I don't really need another Instagram. And that's kind of the way I see it. It's like Instagram for words.
That's
instead
similar
of
to one of my reasons.
So that's kind of where my head is, and everybody's like, "Oh, dude, you're so forward with this stuff. I can't believe you're not on there yet." And I'm like,
people have said that to you.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah, like our agents, they're like, "I can't believe like you're always out in front of that stuff," and I'm just like, "Yeah, man, it just seems like to me." I don't see it working either.
Oh no,
I don't think it's a thing. Like it's the same way why Reels isn't TikTok to me.
Mm-hmm. I do think Reels is doing better, but
Reels is better.
So I'll give you my number one reason, and that is you cannot delete your threads if you create one, because if you do delete your threads, it deletes your Instagram. So if you create it, they say they're working on that, but come on, they're not going to fix that. That there's a reason they're doing that.
Yeah,
that you have to keep your account.
It's a fly trap.
So that's one.
Okay.
Two, I think of Twitter as a completely different social media app than
Anything else?
Instagram or Facebook. I follow very few people that I'm actually friends with. It's where I get a lot of my news.
Safe space.
I want to learn from business people. Like, I just say what I want to say. I don't want to have that where it's like everybody I know. I don't care what they're tweeting. I'm sorry.
I think that's TikTok for a lot of people too. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people get weirded out when people they know follow them on TikTok because they feel like they have the freedom to be something that they really want to be without the judgment from the people that they know well on TikTok. And that's somewhat Twitter for me. I mean, I know there's some people follow me.
I don't even know if it's so much as judge. I just don't. It's not really. I don't want to say this in a bad way. I don't care what my followers on Instagram have to say on Twitter. I don't think it's going to be as
Like, I follow them for a different reason.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
To keep up with their personal lives, not their business philosophies.
Yeah, Twitter for me is news. It's topic specific. It's a hive mind of interests that I'm willing to pursue. Like commercial real estate. I follow a lot of tech stuff on Twitter. Like I don't go to Instagram for that. Instagram, I tell you what Instagram is really doing, and this is something that we talked about, a new golf bag. I was looking for a new golf bag. So you seen the Ghost Golf, like those bags?
Maybe.
You will now because your phone heard me say it. But I literally text a couple of friends last night, guys from the office that you would know, and said, hey, what would you guys, what's a good bag? I need to get a new bag. I just got new clothes. I need to get a new bag. And I was looking at the ad in my Instagram feed for these Ghost Golf bags, and they're pretty slick. I like them, but it's a little more than I want to spend. And immediately, one of the guys texts me back a link to that, and I was like, "Dude, I'm sitting here looking at my Instagram feed. Instagram knows what I want to buy.
They're good. They're good with ads.
They know.
If I'm ever looking for something to buy, I go search it on Google and then wait for Instagram to serve me up ads. I swear I do that.
I search them. I click when I'm wasting time waiting in a doctor's office or sitting somewhere waiting on an appointment, sitting in a coffee shop. I literally click when stuff hits my feed. I click shop now. No intention of shopping, just because I know it's going to hit my feed more.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me. I don't even mind the ads. I actually enjoy them.
I know. I do too. If it's something you're looking for,
it's a
customized shopping experience.
It is wild to me that I find that to be like valuable.
So I know what golf bag you should get. I can't remember the brand right now, but
OGO.
No. Being an agent, it's not. It's kind of a newer brand, but it's solar powered in the back, and it has a phone charger and a Bluetooth speaker built in. But it's a super light. So being an agent, need your phone charged.
Oh my god!
Built-in cord for it and everything.
It's gonna make me feel extra.
Yeah.
But that does
awesome.
sound cool.
They're very minimalistic look. Like they're cool.
All right, you're gonna have to help me with that.
All right, let's move on to talking a little more about TikTok real quick.
Okay.
So we just breeze through it, but they're launching a music app and they've started beta testing in other countries. Basically trying to combine social media with music, which I think Spotify's really missed out on over the last few years. I thought Spotify really should have focused on the social aspect of music more, and they never did. And I think TikTok's going to blow this out of the water.
I think I agree with you there. When I saw that Spotify would allow you to create your own playlists, make them public, and you have followers, and like how artists get followers, and I thought there was an enormous opportunity there, and I just kept waiting for it to become more of a thing. And they've just rested, I feel like. I'm not saying they're not innovating, but like I still use Spotify the exact same way that I've always used it. I search people, I don't follow, I have playlists that I listen to under different, circumstances or parts of I have my gym playlist, I have my playlist is safe to play in the car with my kids. I have each one of my kids have a playlist. They like their favorite songs. We add the song to their playlist. I mean, I've got I've got the different types of music. I have different songs that I really enjoy, but like nothing changes.
Yeah.
It's not changed at all. And I do think TikTok has absolutely revolutionized the way that I follow music. Beforehand, I mean, I wouldn't even know most new pop music exists without TikTok.
Yeah.
Because it sounds on TikToks and Reels that makes me aware of these music. It's not always my favorite music, but at least I'm current and like stuff that my son, my 11-year-old son comes home and talks about, I'm already aware of, and I wouldn't be otherwise.
Isn't that's kind of cool though?
It's wild, and it is kind of cool. And I follow these things pretty closely for business reasons, but it's fun too.
Yeah. No,
So-
people that say they just use it for business are lying.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
there's
agree.
no other way to look at it. But I was going to ask you. I don't think we have time for it. So if you're listening, you have to watch the next show. But I'm going to ask Jay. Would you rather have 1 million followers on Twitter or 1 million on Instagram? You can answer it if you think you can do it in 30 seconds.
I can answer it, but I don't know that I can give you the reasons why. So let's save that for
All right,
another
we'll save it.
All right. That's all the time we got for you today, folks. Come back next time. Hope you have a great Saturday. If you come back next week, you'll find out my answer to that question. But for Ryan Harris, I am Jay Pitts, your host of the Jay Pitts Show here on Talk Radio 1080. We'll catch you next week.